on Florida Avenue, Hessville Bridge, $3.6 million, Kennedy Avenue reconstruction, software upgrades and cybersecurity upgrades, Columbia Avenue water tank, $1 million repairs, and Hammond City Council chamber updates. Those are all the projects we approved in round one, and I'm going to go through each of these and give you an idea where the anticipated cost was and where it actually falls. So this isn't wonderful news, but it's something we need to talk about. Robertsdale lead remediation was $4 million budget. Obviously, the cost has skyrocketed. Projected cost right now, $5.5 million, which leaves us $1.5 million over budget. Phase one's already been paid for. We are currently in phase two in that project. That's a project right around the north basin of George Lake where homes have lead contamination in excess of levels that we're comfortable with. Instead of going through the EPA, the City of Hammond, through ARP, decided to take this project upon ourselves and clean it free of charge to the homeowners. We're in the project right now. We'll need another $1.5 million to complete it. $3.5 million was anticipated for Firehouse number 2, which is located in Robertsdale also. We figured Station 8 was 4.2, so we figured Firehouse number 2, because it's very similar, would come in right around that. It actually came in closer to 6, $2.5 million over. $3 million in new infrastructure at Clark High School. We're in good shape on that. That's good news. Downtown Hammond Holman Avenue reconstruction project supposed to come in at $5 million, $1.6 million overrun. 6.6 is the number. YMCA project adjacent to the Sportsplex, we anticipated $5 million and we're still on track with that. $3.5 million for new Calumet Avenue pedestrian bridge between Hammond and Munster, a 4th Avenue project. We got $1 million donated towards that from the Little Calumet River Basin Authority, so thank you to our former colleague, Councilman Ripe, who's now in charge of the Little Cal Task Force. That project came in at 5.3, we're 1.8 million short on that. Oxbow Road, we're finding another source of funding for that project. JF Mahoney Drive, cost came in 4 times higher, 1.7 million. We're going to do that project with this because I know that was very important to the councilman of that district. Storm sewer on 7,000 block of Snyder. This project is nearly complete, came in on budget. Good news. Single family home development on Florida Avenue in Hessville, $800,000 for that, on track, on budget. Good news. $3.6 million for new Hessville Bridge to get residents over constantly stopped rail traffic. Cost came in at $4 million, which is $400,000 over budget. Not horrible, but we have to make up for it. $5 million for Kennedy Avenue reconstruction project in downtown Hessville, just like the downtown Hammond project. That project came in over budget, plus we added to that project by extending it north to cover Freddy's Steakhouse. That cost came in at $1.5 million over budget. Software upgrades and cybersecurity, on track, on budget. $1 million towards Columbia Avenue water tank repair. The project is completed, on budget. The council chamber technology upgrades, on track, on budget. That's the good news. So we do have cost overruns. We have to discuss what we're doing with those cost overruns with the council. I just want to be transparent about where we are. The cost overruns are about $9.6 million. So I wanted to give you guys the latest update. We approved a lot of projects in round one. We expected them to come in at numbers that were reliable at the time we passed it. However, the world has changed, and this is where we stand. So we have some ideas I want to talk to you all about. I don't want to do it on the record. I would rather do it privately between us all first, and then hopefully we could reach some type of consensus on what to do. We still haven't spent a penny around 2 money. That's good news. So anyway, that's my report. Nice to see you guys. I don't know if you have any questions. I'm obviously willing to answer. Hi, Councilman.
Everything you just said, was that on phase one?
I don't know if they could hear you. I could hear you.
Everything that was said, was that about phase one?
Yes, sir.
Phase one and two?
No, that was phase one. Phase two, we talked about Memorial Park in phase two. I know Councilman Berry's out there. We were hoping to get the South Hammond Fire Station done with phase two. I don't know. I mean, I'm committed to the South Hammond Fire Station. I don't know if it's going to be done with ARP money. I don't think we're going to be able to afford to do the South Hammond Fire Station with ARP money. I'm committed to the South Hammond Fire Station. I want Councilman Emerson to know that, and I want the Hammond Fire Department to know that, especially because we're literally knocking down old Station 5 within the next couple weeks. And the South Hammond Fire Station is the combined station that's going to take over for the 5s and the 7 service territory. So, but yes, Councilman Mark, all the projects I mentioned were already approved by the council and the mayor during phase 1. But we approved an amount that we thought was going to be accurate, and my report is, unfortunately, it's not as accurate as we'd hoped. Questions?
Councilman.
The ARP dollars were intended to offset our losses during the pandemic, some of it. How much did we allocate toward the losses we incurred during the pandemic out of the ARP dollars? Do you know?
So are you talking about lost revenue from our budget, Councilman? You're talking budgetary losses?
Yes.
Yeah, none so far. None.
But we're supposed to take some of the ARP dollars into and put it in a general fund to manage the losses we incurred, right?
We could have done that. We chose not to. We did projects with it. You could do that. In fact, I know Gary, who's getting over 200% compared to what we're getting. They're using a decent amount of that towards our budget. You have to go through calculations. Our controller would have to prove the losses to do that. But and we could do that easily if we had the money. So we would have to go through a lost revenue calculation, and if we did that, then we could prove to the government if it was $2 million of lost revenue, then we could prove that we could use $2 million of ARP money for our general fund budget. True. We didn't do that.
It wasn't clear that.
No, that's true what you're saying. We just haven't done that yet. Phase 1 was all projects, sir.
Okay.
Yeah. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but when you think about it, I don't think anybody's too shocked, because when you're paying $5 plus for gas, a lot of our projects, you know, the materials that get here are all skyrocketing in cost, so everything's different. And the good news is we were the first city to bid our projects out. So I can only imagine other cities that are going to be doing work next summer and the year after that. The world's changed and everything's more expensive, and the money that we got hopefully is going to go a longer way than some of the people that are in the future. But anyway, I don't know if you have any other questions. But I hate to be the bearer of bad news. I just want to be transparent about where we are. And I'll be talking to you all about the proposals for round 2, okay?
Anybody else have anything?
If it matters to anybody, I went through and we did pretty well spacing it out across the city. If there's any councilman that could be salty because there's not a lot of projects in that person's district, it's Councilman Dave, quite frankly, and that's my district as well. It's getting projects. It's just not nearly the high dollar projects that are going on in other parts of the city. And it's not because I don't love the 5th district. That's where I live. It's just the projects seem to be, a lot of them in the 3rd, a lot of them in the 1st, a couple of them in the 2nd, you know, a couple of them in the 6th. But the projects in the 6th, like the bridge that's expensive, is going to help the residents of the 5th also, because I will use that bridge every day of my life probably. So even though it may be in one district or in Councilman Berry's district, you know, there's a couple projects in the 3rd, and even though it's in the 3rd, it's going to help the 5th too, because the 3rd and the 5th intersect, you know, and they're real close. So anyway, I didn't mean to talk a lot. I apologize for the length. It's just I went through this today with the controller, and I wanted to be transparent with the council about where we stand. So if there's no other questions, I'll say thank you and move on.
Anybody have any further questions? Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Item